Hello there, welcome along to Good Morning Transfers. 8 days to go in the transfer window. So are we any closer to knowing where Romelu Lukaku will be playing this season? We'll take a closer look at that potential swap deal with the man they call the Jewel. Plus, all of this coming up.
I am not in charge. I know nothing about the situation of my players. That's Mauricio Pochettino's blunt message. We analyse what it means for Tottenham's transfer plans.
And we'll be live to Madrid to find out the very latest. That is the ongoing saga between Gareth Bale and Zinedine Zidane.
We have your EFL scouting report coming up in the next 15 minutes. There is still time to pick up a bargain in the Football League.
And it's time to finish off your free agent 11. Today is the turn of the front man. Make sure you get your vote in and have your say, but use the hashtag #TransferTalk.
Get in touch today, use that hashtag #TransferTalk, and we love starting Good Morning Transfers with a bit of breaking transfer news, and it is another signing for Sheffield United. We understand they have agreed a £17 million deal, rising to £20 million with Swansea for their striker Oli McBurnie. It is, of course, the fourth time in this window that Sheffield United have broken their transfer record. That deal will be confirmed later on today. So Oli McBurnie going to Sheffield United. Mark McAdam, a good signing for United.
Yeah, this is a player that scored 24 goals for Swansea in 44 appearances last season. He was one of the best marksmen in the Championship. And the fee seems about right. You compare it to Che Adams, who went to Southampton for around £16 million. The fee is on par with other strikers that have gone over the course of this summer window. Chris Wilder once again adding to the striking options he has with Lys Mousset from Bournemouth. It now seems he's got Oli McBurnie, a good player, an intelligent striker, someone that can get goals. But the thing that most impressed me about him was his movement off the ball, the way he picked up intelligent little pockets of space. He dropped in behind. He can play as a 9 or as a 10. He had something a bit different. Big jump to the Premier League, though.
Yeah.
I feel a bit sorry for Swansea as well. Losing Dan James and now Oli McBurnie as well. I mean,
and the manager.
And the manager. I mean, Steve Cooper's... But what reason he's been brought in from the England setup is because he's used to working with young players and developing talent. He's got one heck of a task on his hands now, considering he's losing his top goal scorer.
Yeah, so we've started with some breaking news. We're going to follow up with some more breaking news, more breaking transfer news. And I said that Sheffield United had signed another player. Aston Villa have signed another player. They have agreed a deal anyway for another player. They've agreed a £9 million fee with Burnley for their goalkeeper Tom Heaton. He's 33 years old, an England international, of course, in his last year of his contract at Turf Moor. He'll become Villa's 12th signing of the summer. He did start Burnley's last 2 pre-season friendlies against Wigan and last night's 6-1 win over Nice, although he is expected to travel to the Midlands today ahead of a medical ahead of this deal. We understand they've agreed that £9 million fee with Burnley for Heaton. 33 years old. Anton, good move.
Sensible, isn't it? Sensible. Yeah, Premier League experience. And a lot of people are looking at Villa's transfer business and going, oh, well, are they going to destabilise it? Is it too many players? And you look at it and go, well, actually, they're just signing the players that have left the club. They're replenishing the squad. And also, I think they are admitting that the squad underperformed with the squad they had last season until Dean Smith came in and they went on the run of form. And it's Dean Smith going, I need a squad I trust and who take it in a new direction. This is all part of his project. And Tom Heaton is an experienced goalkeeper that brings sort of, know-how and is loved with the England setup as well. So, I mean, for me, it seems like a bit of a no-brainer.
Aston Villa have been looking for a goalkeeper this summer. They've looked at Jack Butland, they've looked at Neil Etheridge at Cardiff, they've looked at another couple of goalkeepers within the Premier League, so it's definitely an area that Dean Smith has wanted to strengthen this summer, and he will become, if it happens and goes through, the 12th summer signing. We're still waiting for Marvelous Nakamba to be confirmed as the 11th summer signing, and it would take Aston Villa's spending over £130 million in this summer transfer window. So Aston Villa are going to be probably one of the most under pressure sides, I would say, to perform this season, because if things don't start well, people are going to be looking at the money spent and saying they should be doing better. So it's a squad that needed strengthening, having let more than 10 players go over the summer. They've gone out and they have strengthened. They did most of their business quite early. We're now getting towards the back end. I would probably expect Tom Heaton to be it. But I've probably said that previously. I got that wrong.
said that at number 6, number 7.
Yeah.
From the Burnley perspective as well, at least they've consolidated that goalkeeping position. They probably nominated Nick Pope now as the number 1, and then secondly, now you could consider Joe Hart. But they had that problem as to whether it was going to be Heaton that would leave or Hart that leaves. Now you've seen Heaton leave, you can honestly say that they have their 2 goalkeepers going into the season.
They've got 2 experienced goalkeepers still at the club.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a good position for Sean Dyche to be in. It'd be interesting as to what Burnley fans' thoughts are on the departure of Tom Heaton, if they're disappointed and gutted to see him depart, or whether they feel that they've got good quality back up there.
Yeah,
They're getting a leader as well, aren't they, Villa? He's
Yeah.
won the armband a lot at Burnley as well. They're getting, you know, it makes sense. A lot of players they've brought in from the likes of Belgium and that kind of thing, which, you know, they've been well scouted, but are relatively unknown in English football. And Tom Heaton, they've just gone, we're not going to mess around in the goalkeeper position. We've now got 2 very good goalkeepers. Let's attack the season.
Yeah. Villa fans, let us know what you think. Burnley fans, let us know what you think. Hashtag transfer talk. Just to recap that, Aston Villa have agreed a £9 million fee with Burnley for goalkeeper Tom Heaton. We're going to move on to Romelu Lukaku now. Sky Sports News understands conversations are ongoing with both Juventus and Inter Milan with regards to the sale of the Manchester United striker. Mark, fill us in. Where are we with this one?
So Sky in Italy are reporting that Paulo Dybala's agent is in London for talks with Manchester United about a potential swap deal that involves Lukaku. Now, we know that Inter Milan have an interest in Lukaku. That has been ongoing throughout the course of this summer, but now, over the course of the last 48 hours, Juventus have joined the party, and they are now saying they are interested and in talks. There is still a long way to go with regards to this deal happening at the moment. But the most important thing is that the 2 sides are sat at a table discussing a potential deal. What's being said is that Manchester United and Juventus have agreed a swap deal in principle with Paulo Dybala and Romelu Lukaku. They say it's now up to Dybala's agent and the man himself to agree personal terms with a move potentially to Manchester United. The Juve sporting director is in the country. He's here to do business, not just for Lukaku, but a number of Juventus players that seem to be heading towards the exit. So this is a really interesting deal that I think would excite a lot of Manchester United fans.
Yeah, absolutely, and excite them because they're getting a pretty decent player here, Anton, if it does happen.
They are, and they're getting a very different player to Romelu Lukaku, and I think that's kind of key here in terms of the tactical evolution at Manchester United, and maybe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer won't be too disappointed to see Dybala can walk through the door. I just want to bring up the kind of how different they are. We've been looking through the stats and sort of, because there's some ways are similarities and some ways are difference. If you look at the minutes played, they played around the same sort of level last season, just over 2,100 minutes. Game started again very similar, but if you look at it, sort of, out for out, Romelu Lukaku scored more goals. But okay, fine. But, you know, Dybala created more chances, dribbled more, got more assists, and this was a quiet season for Paulo Dybala after the arrival of Cristiano Ronaldo as well. So what Paulo Dybala brings is a kind of tactical flexibility. He can obviously play out wide on the right and cut in on his left foot. He can play number 9, he can play behind. So, you know, and it just means that clearly Solskjaer isn't massively fussed about having a big target man up front. Mason Greenwood isn't a big target man, the other backup striker they've got at Manchester United. So it means he can formulate a style of football that he's happy with. Romelu Lukaku didn't score a headed goal in the Premier League last season, but I think it says a lot about the way Manchester United were playing. But I also want to talk about the business here side of it as well, because Manchester United have been criticised for the way they've gone about their transfers and the way they almost over-negotiate and try to niggle over the fees and that kind of thing. But Ed Woodward has gone from quiet negotiator to ultimate opportunist here, and he's got Tottenham Hotspur to thank for this. Nobody really knew Paulo Dybala was available. As Mark was saying, Fabio Patrici, the Juventus sporting director, has been in the UK, in and out of the UK during the summer, offering various players to Premier League clubs, like Sami Khedira, Mattia Perrin, Moise Kean is obviously going to Everton, have been banded around various Premier League clubs. But nobody really knew about about Dybala's availability until Tottenham said, "Nah, we want him." And Juventus were like, "OK, well, you could do for a certain fee." And that's alerted a lot of clubs. And Manchester United have just gone, well, if you want Romelu Lukaku, we want Paulo Dybala. And if you think about it, Dybala would have cost at least £100 million last season, if not 120. Now they're getting him for a fee of what? Pretty much half that, because that's all they were getting offered for Romelu Lukaku. The maximum they could get from Inter Milan was £60 million. So this could be seen as one heck of a piece of football economics, as well as, you know, a great deal on the pitch.
And he's a great age as well, 25 years old. He's still got his best years ahead of him.
Yeah, and they call him the Jewel. So whether he'll be the jewel in Manchester United's crown, we will see. But, I mean, we can't forget Inter Milan in all this, of course, from the Italian perspective. We understand they are still in for Lukaku. Dave, where does this leave them?
Well, it leaves Antonio Conte looking a little bit red-faced on his birthday. It's his 50th birthday today, but I don't think he'll be too happy that he's going to miss out on his #1 target. Remember, we brought you the quotes last week from Antonio Conte, who was saying that Lukaku was a really important player for us. He was speaking as though the deal was on the verge of being completed, and now it seems to be going the other way, and he's going to one of their closest rivals in Serie A. And Inter are making a move for perhaps their #2 target in Edin Dzeko from Roma. They're ready to increase their offer for the striker, according to Sky in Italy. The club are planning to get towards 15 million euros, about 12 or 13 million pounds. But even that's still not getting towards what Roma want for Edin Dzeko. So Inter Milan are trying to do deals, but trying to do deals on the cheap at the moment. It's backfired on Lukaku. They're moving on to another target in Edin Dzeko at the moment.
Are they now potentially suffering and losing out on a player that they were desperate for by just not getting the business done early?
Yeah, but you have to look at it from the Lukaku perspective. He probably put himself available and has made it very open by Turman and not particularly involving himself in the pre-season, the segregation from the pre-season plans. And now he's got the prospect of actually playing for Juventus. Think about how attractive that prospect is for him. I mean, you're talking about a team that's going to be focused on winning the Champions League because, in all due respect, they probably have the domestic title wrapped up again because they'll be going for the 9th consecutive title. So their focus, that is a whole level of new ambition that Romelu Lukaku is going to. And he's a proven goal scorer in the Premier League. And he's a proven goal scorer for a team that not necessarily has always been at the top. You think about he scored goals at West Brom, he scored goals at Everton. Can you now think about the quality that he's going to be around him now, serving him? I mean, at 26 years old, he scored over 100 goals in the Premier League already.
And just one more point I would make on Romelu Lukaku. We had Christophe Terreur, the well-respected, one of the top Belgian football journalists on the Transfer Talk podcast, and he was saying that actually Antonio Conte would be the ideal manager for Romelu Lukaku. He was saying that, yes, United fans will have seen perhaps the odd lapse in concentration, the odd poor touch. Maybe he's not getting in the correct positions in the box, the odd poor finish. United fans might point to that, but Christophe was saying that the way that Antonio Conte moulds his sides, they're very mechanical in the way they play. Patterns of play are imprinted on the back of the eyelids of these players. They know where to run, they know when to run. And his point was, actually, Romelu Lukaku could benefit from that type of manager because Lukaku will know when he needs to get in the box, when he needs to drop deep, when he needs to run in behind. And that could be a really good opportunity missed for Romelu Lukaku.
I know a lot of fans get onto Lukaku for those same reasons. Maybe the technical ability, people identify his first touch and his lack of movement in the near post sometimes as well. But you're still talking about someone who's, since he's entered the league in 2012, the only 2 strikers that scored more goals than him is Harry Kane and Sergio Aguero. I mean, I've already typed man and said to you, he's scored 113 goals since he's been in the Premier League. I mean, this is not some striker that we're sitting here wondering, oh, can he score? He's a proven goal scorer. Every season he's played in the Premier League, he's at least hit double figures. So someone who's apparently struggling, those stats speak for themselves.
And yet there's an asterisk over when he goes to Juventus as well, because they've got, what, 33-year-old Mario Mandzukic, and they've got Gonzalo Higuain, and you're just like, well, where's the flexibility there? Where's the difference? They're all kind of 3 target men, really. It seems odd business from Juventus, really, to not have a sort of plan B, especially when they're losing Moise Kean as well. But hey, Lukaku's got to try and get ahead of them, and I'd back him.
26, man, he can't.
And I just wanted to bring it back to the United perspective in terms of getting a player like Dybala. I mean, United fans, let us know what you think. Are you excited by this? Because what I just wanted to put out there was, perhaps, are United focusing in the wrong areas? I mean, they clearly still need a centre-back. Eric Bailly as well, we now know, is out for 4 to 5 months with that knee injury. Is their focus in the wrong place? They're going after Dybala, but actually they should be looking elsewhere.
I think Anton summed it up. This is an opportunist moment to get a quality player. But if they get the Paulo Dybala stuff done, and then add potentially Harry Maguire, which I know everyone is discussing about, is that a Manchester United team that can compete for the title?
Oof. You'd have to give them. They're going to be in better shape than they are now. I mean, look, the gaps that's still between Manchester City and Liverpool and probably the rest of the league is still vast. But at the same time, they're going to be a lot closer with those players added to their squad that they have than they were last season.
I don't think the Maguire deal rests on Lukaku leaving, because their budget would not have been defined by Lukaku because they didn't know if they were going to get rid of him or not. So actually, this is a bonus deal on top of their pursuit of Harry Maguire.